I am warning you right now though, this might make you feel uneasy, sad, disturbed. This is about serial killers and them killing victims, and it also includes some animal abuse, so proceed with caution. If you're not comfortable watching this, do not. Hey guys, it's Sharon. Today's video is something I haven't necessarily done on my channel yet. I kind of have, kind of haven't. So back in October for Halloween, for spooky season, because it is my favorite time of the year, I did this series where I uploaded every day straight and I talked about stuff like mysteries, unsolved murders, serial killers, all that stuff, because that has always really fascinated me. Now this video in particular is going to be part of a new series that I have actually been working on for the last 2 years. It's been in the works, I've been planning it, but I've never actually just gone out and done it. And you guys seem to have really enjoyed some of my October content, so I was like, okay, that means they'd kind of be interested in this series, so I might as well do it now. So I do really enjoy astrology, and I do also really enjoy like crime and unsolved mysteries and unsolved murders and serial killers and all that stuff. So the way this series is gonna work out is every first Thursday of the month, I will be doing a video on a serial killer who is that astrological sign of the month. So for example, beginning of April, that's Aries season, so this video, I'm gonna do it on an Aries serial killer and so on, and it'll happen for the next 12 months until I complete all 12 astrology signs. So I hope you guys are excited for this series. I definitely am. If you'd like to see more, give us a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram, my Twitter, and my now TikTok so you can have a say in my videos and even get a chance to be in them. And of course, if you want to see more, you can definitely subscribe for more. Now, like I said, this is like pretty new content for me, but you can also definitely go binge my October content. I do have a video on just like serial killers in general. If you want to see that, definitely go do. But for now, let's get into this one. The Aries serial killer that I chose to talk about is Keith Hunter Jesperson, also known as the Happy Face Killer. I am warning you right now though, this might make you feel uneasy, sad, disturbed. This is about serial killers and them killing victims, and it also includes some animal abuse, so proceed with caution. If you're not comfortable watching this, do not. Keith Hunter Jesperson is a Canadian-American serial killer who murdered at least 8 women in the United States back in the 1990s. He was known as the Happy Face or Smiley Face Killer because he drew a lot of smiley faces on the letters he sent to the media and to his prosecutors. Many of his victims were sex workers or transients who had absolutely no connection to him. Strangulation was his preferred method of killing, which is the same method he used to kill small animals as a child as well. Jesperson was born on April 6 of 1955 to Leslie Les and Gladys Jesperson in Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada. He is the middle child of 2 brothers and 2 sisters. His father was an alcoholic, and Jesperson claimed that his grandfather was also pretty violent. Les Jesperson did deny being an abusive parent, but however, while investigating for his book on Jesperson, author Jack Olson was able to confirm much of the abuse with other family members. Jesperson was treated like an outcast by his own family, and he was teased a lot by other kids because he was very large for his young age. He was 6'7". In his younger years, Jesperson was given less attention than the rest of his siblings and treated differently by the rest of his family. After moving to Selah, Washington, Jesperson had a lot of trouble fitting in and making new friends because of his large size. His brothers did not help him. Instead, they nicknamed him Ig or Igor, a name that stuck throughout his school years. Because of this, he was a shy child and he was content with just playing by himself. He would often get into trouble for behaving badly and sometimes violently, and would be severely punished by his father. This included beatings, sometimes with a belt in front of others, and in one case, he received an electric shock from his father. Like I said, Jesperson was a lonely child, and a lonely child that enjoyed torturing and killing small animals. This started at a very early age, as young as 5 years old. He enjoyed watching animals kill each other, as well as the feeling he got from taking their lives. This continued as he got older. He would capture birds and stray cats and dogs around the trailer park where his family lived, then severely beat the animals and strangle them to death, something for which he claims his father was proud of him for. In the years following, Jesperson said he often wondered what it would be like to do the same to a human. That desire manifested into 2 attempted murders. The first happened when Jesperson was around 10 years old. He was friends with a boy named Martin, and the two would often get into trouble together. Jesperson claimed he was punished often for things Martin did and blamed it on him. This led Jesperson to attack Martin, and he violently beat him until his father pulled him away. He later claimed his intention was to kill the boy. A year later, Jesperson was swimming in a lake until another boy held him underwater until he blacked out. Sometime later, at a public pool, Jesperson attempted to drown the boy by holding his head underwater until the lifeguard had to pull him away. Jesperson reported that he was raped at the age of 14. Now, he graduated from high school in 1973, but did not attend college because his father didn't believe that he could do it. Although he wasn't successful with girls in high school, not even have attended any dance or any prom, he did enter into a relationship after high school. In 1975, when Jesperson was 20, he married Rose Huck, and the couple had 3 children. They had 2 daughters and 1 son, and Jesperson worked as a truck driver to support the family. Several years later, Huck began suspecting that Jesperson was having affairs because strange women would call the house. Tension in the marriage increased, and after 14 years while Jesperson was on the road, Huck packed up her and her children's belongings and drove 200 miles away to live with her parents in Spokane, Washington. Jesperson continued to spend time with his children when he was in town, and the couple divorced in 1990. Now, at the age of 35, standing 6 feet and 7.5 inches, weighing approximately 240 pounds, Jesperson began working towards the goal of being a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman. But he got injured while training, and that quickly ended his dream. He then looked for work again as a truck driver after moving to Cheney, Washington. Jesperson soon realized that this job offered him the opportunity to kill without even being suspected. His first known victim was Tanja Bennett on January 23rd, 1990, near Portland, Oregon. He introduced himself to Bennett at a bar and invited her over to the house he was renting. He brought her home with the idea of having sex with Bennett, and when Bennett refused, he proceeded to strike and beat her. Worried that she would report this to the police, he then strangled her to death. He established an alibi by going back out for drinks and being sure to speak with others before returning and disposing of Bennett's body. He was back on the road the next day, and the body was found a few days later, but of course they had no suspect or no leads. Now, early in the investigation of Bennett's murder, Laverne Palvanac read the news report surrounding Bennett's death and saw it as an opportunity to end her long-term abusive relationship with her live-in boyfriend, John Sosnovsky. I apologize in advance if I'm butchering any names. She set up a meeting with the investigating detective and gave a false confession. She used the details in the report she had read to give a detailed story about how her boyfriend had forced her to help rape, murder, and dispose of Bennett's body. They were both arrested on March 5th of 1990 and were both convicted of the murder on February 8th of 1991. To avoid the possibility of facing the death penalty, Sosnovsky pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison, while Palvanac was sentenced to no less than 10 years, much more than she had anticipated. She soon admitted to making it all up, but her claims were ignored. On January 7th of 1996, more than 5 years after their conviction, Palvanac and Sosnovsky were released from prison after Jesperson and his attorney offered his confession with convincing evidence of his guilt. He had given police officers the location of the victim's purse. The purse had not been found, and its location was considered information that only the killer would know. Now, following Bennett's murder back in 1990, obviously all the attention was going to Palvanac and her boyfriend. Jesperson actually wrote a confession on the bathroom wall of a truck stop and signed it with a smiley face. When that did not create the attention he wanted, he wrote letters to media outlets and police departments confessing to his murders. He started with a 6-page letter to the Oregonian in which he revealed the details of his killings. He signed each letter with a smiley face. This led Phil Stanford, the journalist that was working the story for the Oregonian, to dub Jesperson as the happy face killer. 3 months after murdering Bennett, Jesperson met Dawn Richard Slagle, a 21-year-old mother of 3 who became the only known victim to survive one of Jesperson's attacks. The young mother had stormed out of her house in Chico, California with her infant son in her arms after having an argument with her husband on April 13th of 1990. She walked to a nearby shopping center where she struck up a conversation with Jesperson and eventually getting into his car to fight off the cold. He drove her to a lakeside where he tried to sexually assault her for 3 hours in front of her baby. When she fought him off, he tried to strangle her. Miss Richard Slagle believes that she only survived because of her son, and she actually eventually convinced Jesperson to let her go. The survivor told the Oroville Mercury Register that she had filed a police report despite Jefferson's pleas not to tell anyone. The killer was caught by police and charged. He pleaded no contest to misdemeanor charges of sexual battery and was released. He vanished. Now, in September of 2014, this same woman, Dawn Richard Slagle, who was attacked by Jesperson in 1990, filed a lawsuit against the makers of The Happy Face Killer, a movie about the serial murder's crimes. She sued the filmmakers for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and invading her privacy because she was portrayed as a sex worker in the movie. According to the lawsuit, not even Jesperson ever said she was a sex worker. Now, it was 2.5 years after his first kill when Jesperson killed again. On September 16th of 1992, the currently unidentified body of a woman he had raped and strangled was found near Blythe, California. He says the Jane Doe's name was Claudia. California. She was said to be anywhere from 21 to 26, 5'4", and weighed 125 pounds. Her body was found under the brush in the desert near Blythe, California. It was 100 feet from Highway 95. Jesperson claimed she was looking for rides from truckers and she wanted to go to Phoenix, Arizona. He allegedly picked her up at the brake check area off of I-15 in Cajon Pass and drove around at San Bernardino. The victim had already traveled through Las Vegas and Los Angeles. She had blonde hair, thought to be shoulder length and wavy. Her fingernails and her toenails were painted with a gold glitter polish. There were 2 small dots tattooed on her right thumb between the nail and the joint. Her eyebrows were very thin and some of her teeth were missing. She wore jeans and a gray t-shirt with a picture of a skeleton riding a motorcycle. A month later in Turlock, California, the body of Cynthia Lynn Rose was discovered. He claims that she was a prostitute who entered his truck at a truck stop while he was sleeping. Her death was originally thought to be a drug overdose. She was 32. His 4th victim was another prostitute, Lori Ann Pentland of Salem, Oregon. She was 26. Her body was found in November of 1992 behind a G.I. Joe store in Salem, Oregon. Now, according to Jesperson, she attempted to double the fee she charged for sex that he had been engaged with her. She threatened to call the police and he strangled her. It was more than 6 months before his next victim was found in June of 1993. This was another unidentified woman, a street person in Santanella, California. Jesperson claimed she was named Carla or Cindy. Police originally considered her death to be a drug overdose as well. More than 1 year later, in September of 1994, another Jane Doe was found in Crestview, Florida. Jesperson claims her name was Suzanne, his 6th victim. Jesperson told investigators that she was from Miami, and he picked her up in Tampa and killed her at a rest stop in Pensacola. This victim, possibly named Suzanne or Susan, was on her way to Reno, Nevada. She was about 30 years old. Jesperson collaborated with a forensic artist to help create a new 3D reconstruction of the victim, using her skull, and he had also painted a portrait of her. In January of 1995, Jesperson agreed to give a young woman, Angela Sabrise, a lift from Spokane, Washington to Indiana. Approximately a week into the trip, Sabrise became impatient and began to nag Jesperson to hurry up because she wanted to see her boyfriend. In response, Jesperson raped and strangled her. He then strapped her to the undercarriage of his truck, face down, to grind off her face and prints. Her body was not found for several months. And then only after Jesperson gave details to the police. 2 months after murdering Sabrise, Jesperson decided that his longtime girlfriend, Julie Ann Winningham, was interested in him only for his money. On March 16th of 1995 in Washagal, Washington, Jesperson strangled her. She was the only victim he had a link to, which ultimately set police on his trail. Jesperson was arrested on March 30th, 1995 for the murder of Winningham. He had been questioned by police a week before, but they had no grounds to arrest him after he refused to talk. In the days following, Jesperson decided that he was certainly going to be arrested, and after 2 suicide attempts, he turned himself in, hoping it would result in leniency during his sentencing. Now, while in custody, Jesperson began revealing details of his killings and making claims of many others, which he later recanted, which means took back. Also, a few days before his arrest, he wrote a letter to his brother. In it, he confessed to have killed 8 people in the course of 5 years. This led police agencies in several states across the US to reopen old cases, many of which were found to be possible victims of Jesperson. In November of 2008, Jesperson's daughter, Melissa G. Moore, appeared on the Dr. Phil show to talk about what it was like to have a serial killer father. She was also featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show and the Lifetime Movies Network series Monster in My Family, the episode titled Happy Face Killer Keith Hunter Jesperson. In 2008, Moore published a book titled Shattered Silence, The Untold Story of a Serial Killer's Daughter. Now, Moore did live with her father until her parents divorced in 1990, and she noticed that her father was different when she was in elementary school. Their house bordered an apple orchard, and her dad killed stray cats and gophers that wandered nearby. One day, she watched horrified as he hung stray kittens from the family's clothesline. She ran to get her mother, and when they returned, they found the kittens dead on the ground. He had watched and laughed as the kittens clawed each other to escape and then killed them. She also described how her father's strange desire to describe graphic details about sex with her own mother and lewd comments to female strangers made her sick to her stomach. She also revealed that at the age of 15, she found a roll of duct tape in the bed of his long-distance trucker's sleeper cabin, a moment which she brushed off but it came back to haunt her many years later. Moore reaches out to the family members of serial killers who often cope silently with the trauma and stigma of who they're related to. She's also reached out to the family of one of her father's victims, Tanja Bennett, along with survivor Don Richard Slagle. Moore said she was able to move past her horrible deeds with the support of her husband, who she later went on to have kids with. She even brought her family to meet her father in prison in 2005. Now, Miss Moore's grandfather told her that Jesperson had once admitted to thoughts of killing his own children. She told the BBC, "Maybe people will understand this, but hearing that gave me freedom. It allowed me to see that in truth, there had been no double life. There had only ever been one Keith Jesperson, and he had been able to manipulate everyone around him and present different facades to the world." Although Jesperson at one point claimed to have had as many as 185 victims, only the 8 women killed in California, Florida, Nebraska, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming have been confirmed. He is serving 3 consecutive life sentences at the Oregon State Penitentiary in Salem. In September of 2009, he was indicted for murder in Riverside County, California, and was extradited to California to face the charges in December. Jesperson was convicted of this murder and received a 4th life sentence in January of 2010. The fact that this man is still even alive is really eerie to me. The fact that anyone can do anything like what he did is extremely creepy and heartbreaking and very disturbing, but that is about all I have for you today on the happy face killer, Keith Hunter Jesperson, who is my Aries serial killer of the month. Now, of course, I am following the astrological order, so next month I will be doing a Taurus serial killer. But if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know by giving this a thumbs up. If you're excited for this series, please let me know. Go ahead and comment on all your thoughts, your theories, whatever you are thinking, whatever you would like to share. I am very interested in seeing what you have to say. If there is a specific serial killer that you want me to talk about, or a specific video topic that you also want to see that is related to this, make sure to let me know as well. Now, shout out of the day goes to Heba on Instagram. Thank you so much. If you would like to be shout out of the day, just follow me on my Instagram and stay active. Now, like I mentioned, this is a brand new series that will be going on for the next year. It'll happen every first Thursday of the month, so you'll get one a month until we do all of the astrological signs. But if you would like to watch more content in the meantime, I did do a series back in October where I talked about serial killers, I talked about unsolved murders, I talked about mysteries, all that stuff, so you can definitely go binge that and check that out in the meantime. And of course, if you want to see more, you can definitely subscribe for more. But all that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!